Hey, how we doing? Manila. How are you? Maya's fine.
Hello?
It's really gotten a lot better. Hi there.
Hola.
Good. And yeah, I'm down 15 pounds. I feel good. That is
Wow.
like crazy. I'm hoping by the end of this week to be down 20. Because I was weighing,
Oh my
I
God.
was weighing 210. Now I'm weighing 195, and I want to be at 190. If I can get to 185, I'll be really happy, and then that's it. That's all I want. That would be 25 pounds.
Wow.
That's good for, an old fart like me. So,
Yeah, but have you changed your diet?
well, yeah, I'm on Manjaro, so it changes it for you. It completely changes how you eat,
Oh.
how you think about food, changes your digestive system.
Oh, yeah. You
Changes.
said your cravings and stuff?
You just don't like food. Food, even alcohol. Like, I used to like to go home and have a cocktail. With this, I have half a cocktail, and I'm like, eh. My wife and I'll go out to eat, and I'll order, like, thinking like I'm still the person I used to be. I'll order what I used to order, whatever.
Ah.
I have 2 bites, and I go, I'm good. Pack it up. I'm ready to go. It's like
Wow.
crazy. It's like, it's
Well,
a
that's
totally
good.
different. I guess it's a hormonal thing or whatever. It changes the way you.
Yeah, because you said your cravings for candy and stuff changed.
Don't even, yeah. Over here, they have this candy over here, and they have snacks here in the commissary here. And I always walk by, and I'll grab chips, I'll grab this. Before, I would eat 2 or 3 packs of stupid little chippies, And now, I walk by them, and I go, ooh. I look at those
Wow.
kisses, ugh, Yeah, it's crazy.
But you don't get headaches or anything? Because I heard people doing like Mounjaro and all the other whatever injectable stuff were
No.
saying like they get headaches.
First of all, I don't even know what a headache feels like because I've never had one. So
Get out.
I've never had a headache. I don't even know what a headache is. No.
Yeah, I rarely, I mean, like once every
No.
few years, but that's what people say is it gives you a headache. That's what
No,
I heard.
I have other maladies that suck. I get heartburn.
Oh.
I have, what am I prone to? Heartburn, a little acid reflux from time to time. Yeah, we all have our things. My wife used to get migraines. Hasn't had them for a while. I hear people who have migraines. They say that's like one of the worst things in the world. Like
Yeah, I don't get that. I've never had one. I don't know.
people who have bizarre bad migraines. They're like in a fetal position. It's crazy.
You know who used to get those?
Who?
Mariana.
Oh yeah, that's right. She used to talk about that. Mariana. Mariana with the hair. Remember?
Yeah.
She was lovely.
Curly hair.
Yeah. So when I turn to you, I'm going to say Zelensky said the report was a lie, and then said, wait, I'm sure you've read the script already.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, in fact, it kind of frosts my ass a little bit to see this guy come to my country. And who the fuck are you to come to my country and tell me who I should like or not like? I mean, I think there's certain things about J.D. Vance I think are disgusting, but I can say that. You can't. It's like, some of his positions on immigration, ugh. But, his positions on...
He's a jerk, but he's our jerk.
But exactly, I can criticize Donald Trump. You can't, he's my guy.
jerk.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, like I said this morning in the meeting, I mean, I can tell my kid he's an asshole, but I'm not going to let my neighbor do that. It's like, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's like the way we are. You don't shit in somebody else's living room, So
Good, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you there? Or wait, are you talking to me?
Very good. Thank you.
Oh no, she's not talking to me yet. And then the next thing I'm going to ask you, Yeah, the next thing I'm going to ask you is,
No, there's Mimi. I see her.
yeah, okay. Notice it was said you're helping him because he's talking to a pro, Zelensky. Sure. So yeah, I'm coming to you twice, Manila, on the topic of Zelensky.
Yep.
And then I'm going to turn to Mimi on what's going on in the Middle East. And with Mimi, the first thing interestingly enough, of all the shit that's going on in the Middle East, the thing that's pissed me off the most is that the IDF apparently went into Ramallah and they raided the Al Jazeera newsroom, and they just looked like freaking Nazis, man. It's just not a good look. I mean, damn, man, don't do that. It's just even the U.S. State Department is condoning it and criticizing it. That's when you know you're really fucked up. You know. When your ass kissers are complaining about what you did. Oh, Mimi, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hey, what's up, Mimi? How you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about the Al Jazeera office raid because they basically trashed the place. They threw out a memorial to a journalist that they shot.
Mm-hmm.
Shireen. So yeah, we can definitely touch on that.
That's thug-like. That's like mafia shit, you know? I mean,
they threw a bunch of people off a building like a few days prior. So I'm not shocked.
Yeah, I guess throwing somebody off a building kind of is in that realm of mafia-like behavior. Okay.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck? What is happening in this world?
Can't get much worse.
Ah, God. All right. So, and then just catch us up on what's going on in Lebanon. They're saying more than 270 people are dead. What's the exchange like?
Yes.
We'll talk about the pagers. You know, we'll go through the whole thing. Okay? You ready?
It's happening right now. Yeah, I'm ready.
Perfect. All right. All right. We're ready to go. Let's do this. Hey, Rick Sanchez here. This is Direct Impact, and this is some of what we're going to be talking about.
Poland is on its 45th package of support for Ukraine, about 100 million euros each.
That is the foreign minister of Poland. He's talking to a Ukrainian reporter. But wait till you hear what else he says about Ukraine when that reporter isn't around. Different story. I'm Rick Sanchez. Let's do this thing. Let's start with this. I just got back from New York City. Loved it there. It was kind of chilly, which is nice. I was there over the weekend. Got a chance to talk to and meet some of the folks who are coming in now from all over the world. Some world leaders are arriving as we speak there for the big UN General Assembly, which is taking place as the world seems to be, I mean, how do I say this, on the brink of an explosion? I mean, of conflagration. It's crazy what's going on all over the place right now. So among those arriving is Ukrainian strongman Volodymyr Zelensky, who is, interestingly enough, trashing some of our leaders and our institutions immediately after getting off the plane. And I'm not sure why, but that's what he's doing, right? First, He trashes Donald Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, essentially saying that Vance is too radical, and that when it comes to Ukraine, neither he nor Trump know what they're doing. And then he goes on in the same article to suggest, which is kind of weird when you think about it, that the war in Ukraine should not be at Ukraine's expense, seeming to suggest maybe it should be at our expense, the U.S.'s expense instead. Oh, and wait, that's not all. He was not finished. Zelensky then attacked another U.S. institution when he went after the Wall Street Journal, calling its reporter essentially a liar for writing that 80,000 Ukrainian soldiers have perished in the fighting with Russia. Zelensky said that report was, here it is, a lie. And then he said that actual figure was much lower, while the Journal sourced its information, interestingly enough, because I read the story. Zelensky did not. So, you know, there's a really crude saying that goes like this: you should never crap where you eat. I'm sure you've probably heard that before. I know it's vulgar, but I mean, sometimes these refrains are the best way of capturing a story. Maybe Zelensky hasn't heard that refrain. Maybe he hasn't heard that saying from his dad or something like that, like I did, or like maybe you did. I mean, why else would he do something like this? Look, there's nothing wrong with criticizing the Wall Street Journal. There's nothing wrong with criticizing Trump. I do it all the time. Or criticizing Vance. I do that too, right? I am an American. I live in this country. I'm an American citizen. I have a right to criticize my institutions if I want to. I have a right to criticize our politicians, right? But for the leader of a country that we've now given more money to than we gave to rebuild all of Europe after World War II, for that guy to come here and start insulting my leaders and my country instead of saying thank you? I mean, sorry if I'm a little worked up, but I just don't get it. It kind of frosts my behind a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't know. Manila, what do you think of this guy? And what are the chances he's not going to win over a lot of people in this country with comments like those?
Yeah, Rick, I think it's never wise to bite the hand that feeds you. And at this point in the U.S. presidential race, where there's literally a 50-50 chance that Zelensky may have just insulted the next VP of the United States of America. And if such is the case, that Trump and Vance do win this fall, what's that going to do for his future diplomatic relations? But let's be real, Rick. U.S. officials do this all the time, going into other countries and talking trash on their leaders if it favors a different leader that it wants, the policy wants, right? So when Zelensky says the idea, and this is a quote, he says, the idea that the world should end this war at Ukraine's expense. I have to ask,
What?
didn't the U.S. and the EU and NATO start this war at Ukraine's expense by fomenting a coup over the course of several years before 2014?
But think about
and then hosting. Yeah, go ahead.
Think about the converse of what he's saying. It shouldn't be at Ukraine's expense. Oh, really? So whose expense should it be at? Ours?
That's what I don't know who he's implying.
We haven't done enough? $200 billion? Not enough? Oh, sorry. Wait, hold on. I think I might have a little more. I mean,
the U.S. would imply it has to be their expense because prior to 2014, the Maidan coup, the Ukrainians had hosted U.S. officials like Lindsey Graham, John McCain, Victoria Nuland, and many others who went there and harshly criticized then-President Viktor Yanukovych, and then Nuland obviously trying to pick out a new cabinet and new president. But the difference here is, Rick, the U.S. is much bigger and much stronger than Ukraine. Oh my God, I sound like Kamala Harris now, explaining where Ukraine is.
Lethal. We're lethal.
So Washington can, as it does, go around talking trash in Kiev or anywhere else, no matter who's in power in Kiev. And the reverse is not true because obviously the United States is making it rain cash over there.
Right.
Ukraine is subservient to the U.S. by the truest definition. So no, he should not be here criticizing U.S. officials when he's, barking up the tree to ask for more money.
Yeah, and by the way, there's other problems for him because there's another interesting development when it comes to Ukraine. So the foreign minister of Poland was tricked into saying something about what he really thinks about Ukraine. First, I'll show you two parts to this. Let me break it up into two parts. Ready? First thing I want to show you is here he is telling a Ukrainian reporter how much his country, Poland, this is the guy who's, heading up the foreign ministry of Poland, how much his country is 100% behind Ukraine.
Poland is on its 45th package of support for Ukraine, about 100 million euros each. We have provided you over 4 billion euros of assistance, material assistance. We're not counting the support for your refugees in Poland.
All right, so here he is. Notice he said, we're helping you, because he's talking to a pro-Zelensky Ukrainian reporter, which is cool. I mean, the guy's a reporter for Ukraine, and he backs the Zelensky government, which is fine. It's his right to do that, right? But now, look what happened after that. As you can see in this headline, that same man, Sikorsky, he got pranked by an interviewer who called him pretending to be former Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko. And what he told him doesn't sound so pro-Ukraine, because this time the Polish foreign secretary, what he seemed to say is that Ukraine should not be allowed to ever join the EU. And if it did happen that they would finally allow them, Ukraine, to enter the European Community of Nations, it won't be for at least another 10 years. So in one conversation, he's all lovey-dovey about Ukraine, but in another one, he's not so much, right? By the way, tomorrow we're going to drill down on this, and we're also going to have a show where we drill down on why the EU is not as high on Ukraine as it used to be, and why the EU is having its own very serious economic issues, perhaps tied to, all the money they've sent to Ukraine, et cetera, et cetera. But for now, let me bring Manila back in, because I want to talk about this secret rift that seems to be developing between countries like Poland and others and the government of Volodymyr Zelensky. So not only does he have a problem because he's now coming here and insulting U.S. institutions, but he's having some issues with the institutions in Europe as well, who are the people he needs to befriend, because he obviously wants them to be embracing him and making him a part of them, right?
Well, first, Rick, we got to say, Lexus and Vovan, the telephone pranksters, they strike again and hit gold. I mean, I watched the entire interview. It was about 30 minutes.
You're a sycophant.
Yeah, they're hilarious. There was probably more to the interview, but they kind of shortened it to about 30 minutes on their channel. So I watched it, and the things that Mr. Sikorsky says is kind of just jaw-dropping. Well, first of all, Rick, let's point out that it's not a very well-kept secret that Poland wants to put Poles first.
Yeah.
That's no surprise, not the Ukrainians, right? Look no further than the EU farmers' protest that sparked nearly 2 years ago across the European Union. Polish farmers, the Germans, the Spaniards, the Dutch, many more. The Poles were actually at the forefront of this, citing how the EU was giving subsidies and tax breaks, and the strict EU farming procedures regarding the use of chemicals and pesticides were not applicable to Ukrainian goods. So the influx of Ukrainian grain imports and other goods actually drove up costs for those EU farmers, the ones that were actually in the EU.
Yeah.
That cost later gets passed down to the consumer. And Sikorsky said, specifically in that video, he said, quote, "Your membership into the union would force a complete revision of the common agriculture policy." And that's the EU policy, obviously. Presently, Ukraine isn't a union member, so why should they get the benefits of membership on the backs of the member state farmers, right? Sikorsky is really just echoing the very wide sentiment among Polish farmers and the broader EU denizens who have noted that the price of basic food goods have gone up over 40% in various places like in France and in Belgium, and they're even more angry about fuel and energy prices. And hello, winter is creeping in, but that's a different topic altogether, Rick. So, he's just saying the truth.
Yeah, so it's just interesting to hear him say we basically have no interest in embracing Ukraine. we'll help you with this situation with Russia, because if you can be a thorn for Russia, that'll be good for us too. But we're not going to help you become a part of Europe. And, you know, I know that's what you want, but you're just not going to get it. It's just, it's fascinating.
He also said,
yeah.
He also said, I don't know if you heard this part, but he also said flat out, he said, you know, when the pranksters asked him if the Polish would come fight at the front in Ukraine, the foreign minister actually said, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, no, we're not ever going to send you any, no, Poland's not going to go fight on the front line for you.
Thanks, but no thanks. Right. Oh, my God. Hey, thanks, Manila. Good job, partner. Enjoyed the conversation. So, when we come back, we're going to shift our focus to another part of the world and this. That is one of hundreds of Israeli missile strikes in Lebanon that have reportedly killed more than, at last count, 270 people. That's just in the past 24 hours or so. Comes on the heels of a high-tech sabotage that we had told you about that already killed thousands, and rocket attacks shot from Lebanon into Israel, which came after those. So this thing is now a back and forth. Wow, when we come back, we're going to be talking to somebody who is followed by more than 500,000 people worldwide, and that's just on Twitter alone. Mimi Susli is known as the Syrian girl, and she joins us now when we come back. You stay right there. So welcome back. My next guest, she has more than 500,000 followers, probably 1 million if you include all the social media sites, but that's just on Twitter alone. She's been following the attacks on Lebanon, Gaza, as well as Syria, where she's from, and she joins us now to talk about this. Boy, I don't even know where to start other than to say, and I said this a little while ago when we were talking about what's going on with the UN coming into New York. There is just so much going on right now, and it seems incredible that most of it is right there near where you are right now. Thank you, Mimi, so much for joining us. I think I want to start with this video I saw. I think we have it. Can we put that up, Victor? See if you can put this video up.
Live pictures there from the Al Jazeera
right there?
office, from the bureau.
That is you can take the sound down. You can take the sound down. This is video of IDF soldiers raiding the Al Jazeera offices in the West Bank in Ramallah, and it's crazy. They just walked in like they owned the place and took over what is established as, you know, a legitimate news outlet, Al Jazeera. I mean, you could hate or love Al Jazeera, just like some people hate or love this network or CNN or the New York Times or whatever, but it's a news outlet. To see people in military uniforms coming in and taking it over, I don't know. Mimi, your thoughts?
Well, you know, in the previous war, they actually bombed the Al Jazeera building, completely leveling it to the ground. And as journalists, of course, this is going to affect us, especially more so than other war crimes, because of the importance of free speech and free press and the ability to basically report on these war crimes. Otherwise, they're happening in darkness. And this raid, you know, one of the things that they did, I don't know if you have a clip of that, but they took down a memorial, a poster of Shireen Abu Akleh, which was a journalist that they actually shot dead with a sniper a few years earlier. So they were like, they're basically saying, you know, not only did we kill her, but now we're throwing her picture into the trash. So they're proud of having done that. And so far, 116 journalists reporting in Gaza have been killed. 116. People say that they're being specifically targeted. Actually, it's worse if you wear a press jacket on the ground than if you wear civilian clothes.
Yeah, unfortunately, according to the reporting that I've seen, the same is said of nurses and doctors and teachers and activists. They are actually being targeted, and not necessarily because they're members of Hamas. There are other reasons for this type of thing. How do we juxtapose this rating a credible, because Al Jazeera is credible. There's stuff about Al Jazeera I don't like. I'm sure there's things that others don't like. It's a news organization. They don't do everything right, but they're generally a respected news organization. Their reporting is usually pretty good when it comes to coverage of the Middle East. How do we put this side by side with what Israel recently did with the sabotage of high-tech digital personal equipment inside Lebanon and Syria?
Well, I'm not a fan of Al Jazeera, but I think that if you either support free speech or you don't, right? So I'm a supporter of free speech, and Israel is sold to the United States as quote unquote the only democracy in the Middle East. But it's very far away from that. I mean, how long has Netanyahu been in power? How many decades has he been in power?
Yeah.
And this sort of thing is happening, you know, constantly. Not only are they shutting down Al Jazeera, they're shooting journalists. They also there was a phase where they were like deliberately assassinating people on Twitter for some reason. So I guess you know, the question is like, how does that go alongside the pager attack? Look, I'm afraid to say you got to look at the origin of Israel itself, like in order to understand this, because Israel started off with terrorism. Before 1948, Israel was composed of three terrorist groups, Irgun, Haganah, and Lehi. And they were conducting attacks against British troops, but also they sent a letter bomb to Will Truman, the US president at the time. In order to get him to support Israel. So this is what the kind of thing we're looking at. It's basically very on brand for them.
Do you, are you surprised the U.S. State Department has come out in the last couple of hours and they apparently do not condone. In fact, they are criticizing Israel for the raid on the Al Jazeera newsroom?
I mean, what else can they say? At the same time, we have to understand that Al Jazeera is run by Qatar, which is an ally of the United States. And the United States has military bases in Qatar. So it would be very odd for them to not condemn that, in fact. It would be difficult for them not to condemn it.
What would you say to people who are watching us right now, millions of people who happen to watch this particular show all over the world, and they, or some of them, may be thinking to themselves, well, Hezbollah's kind of getting a little bit of what it gives, you know? I mean, after all, Hezbollah's been firing rockets into Israel, and Israel says, look, we're just retaliating. What would you say to those people?
I mean, this started all in 1948 when Israel was created. They pushed everybody who wasn't Jewish, Christian, and Muslim Palestinians out of the Levant in order to establish the Jewish state. And that's how this began. They're occupying a part of Lebanon, which is why Hezbollah was formed in order to resist this occupation and try to get their land back.
Mm.
So when what is Israel is currently being accused of a genocide in Gaza, Hezbollah decided to try to help the Palestinians, which are being exterminated at the moment, which is very open. I mean, the Israeli government has openly discussed doing that. This is why this is happening. What can I tell you?
How does this end? How does this end? I mean, here, as an American, I am angry that Mr. Netanyahu is seemingly doing everything possible to engage Iran militarily, but only knowing that he does so because he expects the United States to fight that war for him. So he's telling me and my children, as a citizen of the United States, I expect you guys to go in there and start a war, or finish a war, maybe is a better word, with Iran. You know, that's unsettling for me as an American.
In fact, like, he begged Congress for the war in Iraq. He begged Congress for the war on Libya, and he's been begging for the war in Iran for 30 years. And he has a similar sense of entitlement to Zelensky. You know, Zelensky said he wants to turn he wants to turn Ukraine into a second Israel. I guess he's picked up that sense of entitlement from Netanyahu. And Congress seems to like all be clapping like seals whenever he comes around begging for cash. So, the thing is that he is trying to drag the U.S. into the war, but the question was, how does this end up?
Hold on. There is a difference, though. Zelensky comes to the United States and takes cash from Congress. Netanyahu comes to the United States and gives cash to Congress.
Oh, that's very good. Yes, he goes around and he also brings his dirty laundry, apparently, like 8 bags full of clothing that he expects the U.S. to wash. I'm not joking. That's literally...
We're the maids as well. Sorry, I interrupted. Yeah. When I asked you the question about how does this end, and you were about to get to that point, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's the thing. Things are accelerating now very, very quickly. Like for the last maybe 8 months, 9 months, we saw them gradually growing in the northern front, which is between Lebanon and Israel. Now they're accelerating very fast. I don't think it's going to de-escalate. I think it's going to continue to escalate. Possibly in a few months' time, it might even spread to the surrounding nations, like my nation, Syria. Of course, Russia's in Syria, which makes things even more escalatory. And for example, now if Iran were to also be involved in this war and they close the Strait of Hormuz, Europe is going to be squeezed because they're not going to have any fuel supplies reaching them, and NATO and the war in Ukraine might grind to a halt. So I think really what we're looking at is almost a World War III scenario on multiple fronts.
Yeah, to say the least. And that's what's troubling a lot of us over here in the United States. Unfortunately, our media is completely ignoring it, and they're talking about cats and stuff. Final question as I think through this. This thing that just happened in Syria and in Lebanon, people's personal devices, pagers and stuff like that blowing up. I can only imagine how difficult that must be if that happened here in the United States. What's the psyche of the average Lebanese person knowing this just happened? Are they afraid to take a, to be near a laptop or something like that, or anything made by a Western company?
Well, I heard that doctors are throwing out their pagers, but Qatar Airways actually banned pagers and mobile phones coming in from Lebanon, walkie-talkies. So everybody's on edge, because imagine if one of those pagers went off on an airline. Yeah. Just imagine how maybe like hundreds of dead. And the thing is, now the idea is out there. Yeah. It could have. Yeah. It could have. And the idea is out there now. So anyone could, like ISIS could think about doing something like this in the United States, because now there's been a precedent. Yeah. So everybody's freaking out, really.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at my phone. I'm looking at my phone suspiciously as well. I think I might Get a new one or something.
Yeah, or find some kind of device where you can keep it at least 6 feet from your body when you're walking or something. Maybe those, maybe those selfie sticks are going to come back in fashion. You know.
I already have one of those. I'm going to pull it out.
I bet you do. It's been a delight to talk to you. We're out of time. Thank you so much for taking us through this, and keep up the good work. And let's chat again, eh?
My pleasure. Thank you, Rick.
That's our show. Remember to always be looking outside your own box. Truths don't live in boxes. I'm Rick Sanchez. We'll be looking for you next time.
killed dozens and injured thousands.
So we are gathering information on this incident. I can tell you that the U.S. was not involved in it. The U.S. was not aware of this incident in advance, and at this point, we're gathering information.
And what information have you gathered so far?
We'll continue to collect information. I don't have any public readout to give now, but we're collecting information in the same way that journalists are across the world to gather the facts about what might have happened.
If a state actor was involved in any way in what took place in Lebanon, is that acceptable behavior by a government?
Look, that's a great hypothetical, Trevor, that I'm simply not going to engage.
So it's not that's not the case, that it was a state actor?
I have nothing more to add on these incidents. I understand the question. I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals or speculate about what did or didn't happen.
Resolution A/10/L31/revision 1 is adopted.
Killed dozens.
Sí, te escucho perfecto. ¿Me escuchas a mí? Mucho gusto, José. Uno, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, 10. Ah, no, pero la tengo la tengo sin video. Pero si quieres, perfecto.
Hey, Richard, you got a little powder? Richard. You got a little powder? Can you powder my nose? Yeah, cocaine. That was a rough era. Me? No. No, endoscopy. No, going up that way. They're going up this way.
I've had that.
40, 45, depending on whether if you have a history.
I think if you have a history, it starts a little bit earlier. No?
Yeah. You ain't gotta do that, yeah. Well, all they do is put you to sleep, and you wake up and yeah, there's no. Bombas. Wow. Okay, what are we doing? We're checking the guest? Okay, perfect. All right, let me center myself, moving the target. Perfect. And let's say hi to Renato. Renato, ¿estás ahí?
Sí, Rick, mucho gusto. Acá
¿Y qué
estamos.
viejo, cómo estás?
Bien, bien acá, tratando de conjugar distintos trabajos al mismo tiempo.
Eres ciudadano en un mundo que está enloquecido. Es increíble la mierda que está pasando en este momento entre China y Rusia y Ucrania, Irán y Líbano y Israel y Yemen. Vaya, hablando entre hombres, para el carajo. Ña. Bueno, vamos a meterle a esta conversación. Es una conversación importante. Si estás listo, creo que suenas bien y luces perfectamente bien.
Sí.
Dame un conteo de 5, por favor.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Excelente. Ok, vamos. All right, Victor, are you ready? Excellent. Soy Rick Sánchez, Impacto Directo, y eso es lo que necesitas saber en el día de hoy. La nueva etapa en armas de What the Fuck. Rick Sánchez, impacto directo, y esto es lo que necesitas saber en el día de hoy. La nueva etapa en armas de guerra, aparatos digitales, personales, convertidos en bombas. ¿A dónde nos llevará esto? Vamos con todo. Llevo yo casi 40 años trabajando en el mundo de las noticias. He cubierto miles y miles de historias, pero nunca en mi vida he visto algo como esto. La idea que miles de personas pueden ser lesionadas y en muchos casos muertos o mutilados para el resto de sus vidas, solamente por andar con un beeper. Es increíble. Y lo que viene al resultado de todo esto va a ser tremendo, creo yo. Pero vamos a empezar con los ataques. El mismo día que empezó, aquí está. No, the video was supposed to end with just the one guy in the grocery store, so we can fix that later, okay? Thank you. I thought we talked about this. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. En ese video que acabas de ver, sale a relucir una de las primeras imágenes del ataque. La víctima, el hombre que está comprando frutas en un supermercado, él cae al piso sangrando y gritando, y después que explota el beeper que estaba a su lado, como lo pudieron posiblemente ver en el video. Y como él, empiezan entonces a caer muchos más. En total, el primer día las autoridades dicen que cayeron 2.800 víctimas. Y entre esas víctimas, niños, familiares, personas que no tenían nada que ver con los del grupo Hezbollah, pero que de casualidad se encontraban a su lado. Es importantísimo mencionar que este video que les voy a enseñar ahora es también bien gráfico, pero es importante ver estas explosiones para mejor entender el impacto de estos ataques.
Killed dozens and injured thousands.
Esos son más de los mismos ataques que ocurrieron el primer día. Pero después, en menos de 24 horas, empezó otra fase de este sabotaje. En los ataques del segundo día, ese sabotaje digital se enfoca en los walkie-talkies, ¿no? Los walkie-talkies, esos radios que usan la gente para poder comunicar entre ellos mismos, ¿no? Los videos de estos ataques, el segundo día, fueron, tan horribles como el primer día. Y hasta incluyeron un ataque que ocurre durante el funeral de una persona que había muerto el día anterior cuando se le explotó su beeper. Increíble, ¿no? Eso es un funeral, imagínate. ¿Y cómo pudieron entonces convertir un beeper en una bomba? Bueno, para mejor explicarlo, voy a usar este video producido por la página web AI ¿ok? Aquí vamos. Vamos a examinar lo que es un beeper. Cada dispositivo tiene dentro 2 baterías. Las baterías empoderan el beeper y el sonido que sale del beeper. Pero parece que lo que hicieron los que manipularon estos aparatos es remover una de las baterías Y en vez de poner la segunda batería, lo que hicieron es cambiar la batería por un explosivo. Como sabemos que el explosivo tomó la forma de una batería fácil. Según todos los reportes, los explosivos pesaban más o menos 20 gramos. Y eso es casi exactamente lo que pesa una batería en un beeper. La reacción global fue inmediata e intensa y más que todo se basó, obviamente, con el intento de causar terror entre civiles. La Unión Europea, por ejemplo, ya condenó los ataques, así como la ONU. Y también países como Rusia y China, e India y muchos otros de los países conocidos como el Sur global también han estado protestando. Mientras los otros países, principalmente los países occidentales, se quedaron callados. Aparentemente están esperando la reacción de Washington para poder entonces decir lo que opinan. ¿Y qué dijo Washington? ¿Qué dijo Washington? Bueno, la postura oficial estadounidense fue extraña, aunque los funcionarios del gobierno estadounidense incluyeron al secretario de Defensa Lloyd Austin, que hablaron con Israel antes de estos ataques. Ellos se habían reunido con los funcionarios del gobierno de Israel el día anterior a estos ataques. Piénsalo. Y en sí ahora Estados Unidos niega todo. Por ejemplo, aquí te presento el vocero del Departamento de Estado.
So we are gathering information on this incident. I can tell you that the U.S. was not involved in it. The U.S. was not aware of this incident in advance, and at this point, we're gathering information.
And what information have you gathered so far?
We'll continue to collect information. I don't have any public readout to give now, but we're collecting information in the same way that journalists are across the world to gather the facts about what might have happened.
Estamos colectando información, dice. Y no sabemos nada, absolutamente nada de nada. O sea que lo más increíble de esa reacción es que el mismo Wall Street Journal, el periódico el Wall Street Journal, ya había publicado que fueron las autoridades de Israel los que manipularon la cadena de producción y también la de distribución. Y más allá, la cadena de noticias CNN, que se pasó la vida defendiendo y dude, stop. You 50 times walking back and forth. Just let's settle down somewhere so I can, let's go back on this line. 3 right here, perfectly. Yeah, just stay in one place. All right, ready? In 3, 2, 1. We're coming out of that soundbite, right? Have happened. 3, 2, 1. Lo más increíble de esa reacción es que el mismo Wall Street Journal, el periódico, ya había publicado que fueron las autoridades de Israel los que manipularon la cadena de producción y distribución. Más allá, la cadena de noticias CNN, que se pasa la vida defendiendo a Israel como si fueran su agente de relaciones públicas, hasta ellos reportaron la noticia que Israel sí fue responsable por los ataques. Imagínate. Sin embargo, cuando le preguntaron sobre los ataques al vocero de Seguridad Nacional de la Casa Blanca, John Kirby, el hombre actuó como si no sabía absolutamente nada de los ataques. O dicho de otra manera, se hizo el bobo.
If a state actor was involved in any way in what took place in Lebanon, is that acceptable behavior by a government?
Look, that's a great hypothetical, Trevor, that I'm simply not going to engage.
So it's not that's not the case, that it was a state actor?
I have nothing more to add on these incidents. I understand the question. I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals or speculate about what did or didn't happen.
Pero entonces, ¿cómo introdujeron estos explosivos en esos dispositivos electrónicos? Buena pregunta. Miren este mapa. Según el Wall Street Journal, uno de los víperes que explotó tenía una etiqueta que decía que había sido fabricado por una empresa en Taiwán. La marca es Gold Apollo. Como bien sabes, Taiwán tiene una relación íntima con Estados Unidos, pero la compañía taiwanesa dice que no fabricaron los víperes. Según ellos, los dispositivos fueron fabricados por una empresa húngara que casi nadie conoce y se llama BAC Consultor. ¿Debemos creer a Taiwán, un socio cercano a Israel e Estados Unidos? Bueno, quizás tengan razón. Pero si sigues las alianzas internacionales, te sorprenderías posiblemente al aprender que Hungría también es aliado de Israel, posiblemente uno de los más cercanos en toda Europa.
Resolution A/ES10/L31/Revision 1 is adopted.
Ese es el anuncio de las Naciones Unidas diciéndole a Israel que tienen que parar los ataques y la ocupación en Gaza. Como pueden asumir por el aplauso, la gran mayoría de los países, incluyendo a Rusia y a China y muchos otros, estaban de acuerdo. Pero ¿sabes quiénes fueron uno de los 14 países que votaron en contra de la resolución? Hungría. El problema es que se sabe muy poco de estas empresas, excepto que fue establecida en Hungría en el año 2022 y tenía solo un empleado. Los recibos fiscales muestran que la empresa generó, dude, what are you doing? Stop. Why are you doing? Are you okay? Sit down somewhere or something. Coño. Why you were doing that? That is so weird. You're standing next to a camera, jumping up and down. I mean, wow. Okay. He's doing. Okay, let's go. You ready? 3, 2, and 1. Ese es el anuncio de las Naciones Unidas diciéndole a Israel que tiene que parar los ataques y la ocupación en Gaza. Como pueden asumir por el aplauso, la gran mayoría de los países, incluyendo Rusia y China, estaban de acuerdo. Pero ¿sabes quiénes fueron uno de los 14 países que votaron no, que votaron en contra de esta resolución? Hungría. El problema es que se sabe muy poco en este momento de esta empresa de Hungría, excepto que fue establecida en Hungría en el año 2022 y tenía solo un empleado en ese momento. Los recibos fiscales muestran que la empresa generó $600,000 en el año 2023. Claro, el gobierno húngaro lo niega casi todo. Y otra vez tenemos que preguntar, ¿debemos creerlos? Otra pregunta importantísima tiene que ver con el efecto que puedan provocar estos ataques. Es esta. ¿Tú crees que la mayoría de los países del mundo va a querer seguir comprando aparatos fabricados en Taiwán, Hungría, Israel, Estados Unidos, sea donde sea, de esos países occidentales? ¿No sería un gran riesgo entonces ahora para ellos, ahora que sabemos que pueden ser parte de un sabotaje? Podríamos ver más movimiento hacia los productos, por ejemplo, fabricados en otros países, en la India o en China o en Rusia, donde sea. Estos días, muchos sionistas dentro de Estados Unidos e Israel, como el mismo ministro de Defensa de Israel, Yoav Gallant, se están burlando y están celebrando estos ataques que enseñamos nosotros en el Líbano. Pero es muy posible que no estén tan contentos cuando realicen el impacto que esto pueda posiblemente tener a lo largo en su territorio y a su economía. Eso es lo que puede salir de esto. Ok, vamos a hablar de eso. Cuando regresemos, vamos a hablar con Renato Vélez. Renato es profesor de Historia y Estudios Internacionales e hizo su tesis en el Líbano. Así que es el perfecto invitado para esta conversación. Vamos a hablar con él, no se nos vayan. Regresamos en un momentico. Y aquí estamos de vuelta y con nosotros a Renato Vélez. Renato, ¿cómo estás? ¿Todo bien?
Muy bien acá. Saludos de Santiago.
¿Qué piensas en este momento de lo que está pasando en el Medio Oriente? Primero tenemos los beepers, dispositivos, después tuvimos esos walkie-talkies, después las bombas del Líbano a Israel, y ahora Israel está bombardeando y dicen que ya van a matar más o menos entre 200 y 300 personas el primer día. ¿Qué opinas de esta situación?
Bueno, esta era la consecuencia lógica de una escalada que está incitando el gobierno de Israel, evidentemente porque ya no lograron, digamos, sus objetivos estratégicos en Gaza, más allá de masacrar a miles de personas, ¿no es cierto? Y por lo tanto ahora están tratando de escalar el conflicto hacia el Líbano. Hay que recordar desde que el día después que empezó el conflicto en la Franja de Gaza, el Hezbollah, que es la resistencia islámica en el Líbano, estuvo realizando escaramuzas en la frontera norte de Israel, justamente para forzar a Israel a cesar sus operaciones en Gaza. ¿Ya? Entonces, no ha logrado el régimen de Israel digamos, frenar las acciones del Hezbollah, y ellos cuentan o están, digamos, actuando en el supuesto de que si ellos llegasen a hacer una incursión terrestre en el Líbano, van a tener que necesariamente recibir apoyo militar directo de Estados Unidos, y quieren amarrar eso probablemente antes de las elecciones también.
Entonces yo creo que lo que me acabas de decir es que Hezbollah y muchas personas en el Líbano están diciéndole a Israel: no ataques a los palestinos en Gaza, atácanos a nosotros. Nosotros le vamos a dar a ustedes razón para que nos ataquen. Y esto es lo que Israel ha hecho, ¿no?
Claro, o sea, evidentemente acá lo que planteó el Hezbollah desde el principio es que ellos van a cesar sus ataques si Israel se retira de la Franja de Gaza y cesa los ataques contra la Franja de Gaza. Esa es la lógica de esta intervención de Hezbollah contra Israel, que es muy parecida a la que están desarrollando los hutíes, ¿no es cierto?, en Yemen. Y evidentemente el régimen de Israel no se amilana por eso, sino que sigue escalando y sigue escalando y sigue escalando. Y algo que hay que tener presente y que se vio en tu presentación es justamente que lo que hizo Israel con los Vipers fue un ataque terrorista indiscriminado contra la población libanesa. Y aquí no hay que olvidar que el Hezbollah no es solamente un grupo armado que está, ¿no es cierto?, digamos, liderando la resistencia, sino que el Hezbollah es un partido político, es un movimiento social, administra escuelas, administra hospitales y otro tipo de centros sociales. Entonces,
me alegro que dijiste eso, porque la próxima pregunta que te iba a hacer, y de eso podemos hablar entonces sobre este tema, es la siguiente. ¿Cuál es la diferencia entre Hezbollah tirándole cohetes a Israel, comparando eso con Israel atacando a Hezbollah con el sabotaje de sus víperes? ¿Cuál es la diferencia?
Bueno, hay algo que esto es de nuevo escarbar en la historia, pero Hezbollah de partida surgió en el Líbano como respuesta a la ocupación de Israel del Líbano. En el año 1982, Israel invadió el Líbano, ocupó el sur del Líbano, estableció campos de concentración y frente a eso surgió un grupo o un movimiento que es el Hezbollah. Y el Hezbollah es un grupo que, de nuevo, parte realizando acciones de guerrilla en el Líbano para expulsar a los israelíes del sur del Líbano, que todavía ocupan una pequeña parte. Y en esas acciones, Hezbollah siempre ha respetado lo que se llaman las rules of engagement, ¿no es cierto? Que es como este pacto de no atacar objetivos civiles, de ceñirse solamente a objetivos militares. Y, digamos, el Hezbollah siempre respetó las reglas de, digamos, de enfrentamiento, pero Israel las incumplió en 1994, 1996, el año 2006 y así sucesivamente. Y lo que ha ocurrido ahora último es que Hezbollah ha golpeado, y hasta ahora, hasta el momento, fundamentalmente objetivos militares israelíes. Digamos, Israel responde, ¿no es cierto?, atacando objetivos civiles dentro del Líbano, usando la misma excusa que ocupa en la Franja de Gaza, es decir, que todo es Hamás, los hospitales son Hamás, los colegios son Hamás, todo es infraestructura de Hamás. Y en este caso dicen, bueno, Hezbollah oculta sus misiles en casas, en escuelas, en hospitales, en infraestructura civil. Hoy día están bombardeando hasta las carreteras por donde está huyendo la gente del sur del Líbano ante esta inminente incursión terrestre. Y yo creo que esa es una gran diferencia y incluso los veedores de Naciones Unidas siempre han reconocido que en este caso, porque hay tropas de Naciones Unidas en el sur del Líbano, siempre han reconocido que Hezbollah respeta las rules of engagement, pero Israel es el que las incumple constantemente.
Tú estás diciendo entonces que para Israel, si tú vives adentro del Líbano, tú eres un terrorista y eres parte de Hezbollah.
Evidentemente, ellos dicen, de hecho, este señor Naftali Bennett, que no sé si hoy día en este momento ocupa un cargo en el gabinete israelí, pero en algún momento lo ocupó, él decía, bueno, nosotros consideramos que el gobierno de Israel, el gobierno del Líbano, el Estado libanés y Hezbollah son una sola cosa, y ellos han hecho una serie de amenazas genocidas que yo estuve en el Líbano el año 2017-2018, y ya en esa época decían, en la próxima guerra nosotros vamos a llevar al Líbano a la edad de piedra, ni siquiera a la edad media, vamos a destruir toda su infraestructura civil. De hecho, tanto es así que hay una doctrina que es la doctrina Dahie del ejército israelí, que se llama así porque el Dahie es el barrio que está en el sur de Beirut, donde vive o donde está la base de apoyo de Hezbollah entre la población, y la doctrina Dahie es atacar deliberadamente infraestructura civil para quebrar la moral de la gente que apoya a Hezbollah.
Y lo pueden hacer, estoy hablando de Israel, porque ellos piensan que si pueden involucrar a el Líbano, pues entonces van a también involucrar a Irán y entonces también van a involucrar a los Estados Unidos y los Estados Unidos va a tener su espalda, como dicen los americanos. They're going to have their backs. Quiere decir, ellos no están empezando una guerra con Irán, están empezando una guerra para los Estados Unidos contra Irán. Y eso yo como ciudadano de este país, Estados Unidos, me molesta.
No, es inaceptable y también, de nuevo, volviendo a la historia, esto ya ocurrió una vez, ya cuando Israel invadió el Líbano en el año 82, pidieron el apoyo de una fuerza multinacional para ver qué hacían en esa época con los palestinos que estaban en el Líbano, y llegaron, ¿no es cierto?, las tropas de los Marines estadounidenses y tropas francesas. Y no sé, no quiero escarbar mucho, pero es cosa de buscar en Wikipedia qué pasó con los Marines estadounidenses en Beirut y que estuvieron al cantar un par de meses y se tuvieron que ir arrancando porque justamente fueron víctimas de las primeras operaciones de grupos que después van a formar el Hezbollah.
Pero ¿tú crees que llegaríamos a ese punto donde Israel puede forzar esa guerra, que parece que es lo que quieren, una guerra entre Estados Unidos e Irán?
En este momento yo creo que es muy pronto para saberlo, ¿ya? Pero todos los indicios apuntan a que van a tratar de forzar a que esta guerra se salga fuera de control antes de la elección de Estados Unidos. Ya el candidato Trump dijo que él va a salvar a Israel. Y por otro lado, la administración Biden-Harris, ¿no es cierto?, son los que han permitido que todo lo que hemos visto en los últimos años ocurra. Entonces, en el fondo, es difícil que Estados Unidos no intervenga directamente. De hecho, hoy día...
Pero déjame hacerte esta pregunta como estadounidense, yo, o como nos decimos nosotros aquí, como un americano, me gustaría decirle a mi país, no dejes que te hagan esto, no dejes que te manipulen de esta manera. Y dile ahora mismo a Israel, si ustedes forman un pleito con Irán, eso es entre ustedes e Irán, no nosotros. ¿Por qué los Estados Unidos no dice esto? No se lo aclara.
Claro, no, hay un problema en la estructura de poder de Estados Unidos y que es que hay factores, ¿no es cierto?, como el lobby pro-Israel dentro de Estados Unidos que es muy fuerte, ¿ya? Es muy, muy fuerte. Y tienes personas desde, ¿no es cierto?, el ala neoconservadora del Partido Republicano a este senador progresista, supuestamente del Partido Demócrata, John Fetterman, John Fetterman celebró, ¿no es cierto?, cómo explotaron los Vipers y asesinaron indiscriminadamente gente en el Líbano. Entonces, hay un problema de que, en el fondo, si tú quieres tener un grado de poder en Estados Unidos, tienes que rendirte ante el lobby, ¿no es cierto?, ante AIPAC y todo este tipo de organizaciones que lo que defienden son los intereses del Estado de Israel dentro de Estados Unidos. Ya, de hecho, hay un libro muy famoso, ¿no es cierto?, el de Walt y Mearsheimer, ¿no es cierto?, el lobby israelí, y a ellos les acusaron de antisemitas por hacer patente lo que es evidente para todo el mundo. Es decir, en Estados Unidos hay una facción dentro de la estructura de poder que lo que hace es instalar la idea de que defender Israel va en los mejores intereses de Estados Unidos, incluso cuando las decisiones son claramente contraproducentes, incluso para las propias aspiraciones hegemónicas de Estados Unidos. Piensa en el odio, odiosidad que genera el apoyo de Estados Unidos a Israel en el mundo árabe y en el sur global, y eso se va incrementando todos los días.
Es lo que yo temo. Me siento mal por mis amigos que viven en Israel, me siento mal por el pueblo de Israel, me siento mal por mis amigos hebreos que no están de acuerdo con lo que está haciendo Bibi Netanyahu, pero van a ser las víctimas, yo creo, en un futuro de lo que está haciendo Bibi Netanyahu, porque yo creo que el mundo entero está mirando esta situación y creo que esto va a ser posiblemente un gran peligro para el territorio de Israel y más allá, para la economía de Israel. Como yo acabo de decir, ¿quién va a comprar un Viper hecho en Israel o hecho en Taiwán o hecho por Apple o por los Estados Unidos en el futuro? Yo creo que esto va a tener un impacto que todavía nosotros ni conocemos. Pero de eso vamos a hablar en el próximo programa porque se nos ha acabado el tiempo. Como siempre, Renato, un placer poder tener esta conversación contigo y gracias por apoyarnos. Gracias.
Gracias a ti, Rick.
Y con eso, bueno, nos despedimos, pero podemos seguir la conversación por X, donde me pueden encontrar en Rick Sánchez TV. Vendremos otra vez con Impacto Directo. Hasta la próxima.